It is 6:30. Let's call meeting number 2 to order. That was loud, wasn't it? Alrighty. Let's see here. Call to order. We don't need to do roll call again because we're all still here, all the same folks. So, approval of the agenda. Let's go right to that. Number 2.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
Edler. You gotta be quicker than that. Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaefer.
Aye.
Fordyce.
Hey.
Campbell is absent. On to number 3, Resolution 2025. Resolution affixing date of public hearing for fiscal year 26 City of Elkhart budget adoption for April 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-22, resolution affixing date of public hearing for fiscal year 26 City of Elkhart budget adoption for April 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m.
Second.
Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Schaefer.
Aye.
Fordyce.
Hey.
That should be it for that one. On to number 4, discussion item residential tax abatements.
I think they're not helping us. We should get rid of them. Except we're.
Moving on to number 5. Nope. I think that's the general consensus or the vibe that I get from all of you, but I'd like to hear what everybody has to say on it and just to kind of get the consensus and go from there. And then I'd imagine we'd have to, well, not imagine, we'd have to obviously put it on future agenda item to further discussion or approval of removal or whatever. But what are your thoughts besides Jill, who's just cutting the chase there?
I believe last time we voted on them, I voted it down. I didn't want them then, so.
Right. But the new information at the last council meeting was that Kimberly was also okay with getting rid of
Yeah,
them.
somehow now they're okay with it too.
Because they were really against it, and now they're for it. So what changed their mind?
There's 2 different Kimberlys there. So Jenna's more on the development side. Justin is on
Right.
the home building side
Yeah.
with Built Right or.
Yeah, it's built right.
Yeah. So Jenna, when she was in here at our meeting, had mentioned that they would rather us get tax revenue, that direction and allows for city to grow, things like that. And the reason why they were put into place in the past is kind of irrelevant now. It's what do we want to do moving forward? And I called Justin this week and talked to him because needed to for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. And he kind of said he could take him or leave him, kind of where we're at now. His one request, I'm brief with the conversation, but his one request is that we give him a date, like permits pulled before
Right.
X, and we give him proper time to plan for that because they are planning on pulling some more permits here pretty soon.
Sure.
But we're seeing the long-term ramifications of that in this year's budget. When we looked at that taxable valuation chart at the budget meeting last month, we're starting to show this the first year we've had negative growth, if that makes sense. So they were put in place. They worked. They brought a lot of people into the town, and now once those start to sunset, that can pop back up. But it's my opinion that the market conditions and things like that just never affected the growth of the city, and we were able to weather some of those 8% interest rates. And I asked him, do people cite these things when they buy houses? Do they ask for them? He said there has been cases where people have said, nope, we're not buying a house now because maybe they couldn't afford it or that extra incentive wasn't there. He has had, and he goes, it's very rare, but
it's
one
not
or
like
two
that
times,
anymore.
one or two times where somebody has said, we're looking to buy, but we need a tax abatement to make it work. So if you don't have a place in Elkhart that doesn't have a tax abatement, don't take us there. But it's rare.
It's going away from that now. Like people aren't being like, hey, I need a tax abatement. I have to have someone that has a tax abatement.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many places that actually do it anymore. I know Altoona does it, maybe a couple other places, but they're not requesting it when they're buying a house anymore. They could do without it.
I spoke to 2 different people that do mortgages this week as well about it, just kind of asking, what's the vibe? And it has a lot to do with home price, and starting home price is a lot of the folks that are looking for specific home prices are typically the ones asking for abatements. We're kind of at the price level now with our starting home prices where there might not be as many people searching in that price range that need an abatement as much as some of the lower price homes were back when, we bought our house 7 years ago, and that's, you can't buy a house in Elkhart new for that anymore, not even close. And that's not saying anything. Our house is very modest. It's just, that's just a point. Like, that's just how it's gone. So I don't think people in the house bracket that are buying in are necessarily reaching for abatements either. No one's going to say no to one.
Sure.
But yeah, I think he said just give him a runway. He's good with our decision. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but if we're going to put it on, it'd be the April meeting. We'll inform Justin. Make sure he's obviously a resident of the city. He can come to any meeting he wants to, but we'll make sure he knows we're going to have a further discussion. And but after talking to him, I don't personally see a reason to continue to do it because all we're doing is taking money that we. Now, the broader conversation about tax abatements is commercial and industrial as well. Like, we need to lay out what we have an open discussion about what's there, and then work back through each of them, whether they're in place or they were in place or whatever. So doing some discovery on what's in place, talking with Amy, see what's actually on file with the county.
Do we have abatements for
That's what,
industrial?
yeah, we do. And we
I
need to
didn't
look
know
through
that.
because when we annex that land in, if this whole project with Travis Sisson and his group move forward, we're going to have to, when we reestablish TIF districts and do all that fun stuff, we'll need to decide what we want to do, if we want to use industrial abatements to help fill that, or if he thinks he's going to need them. And then we'll have to make a decision on what we think is best, not necessarily what he thinks is best. It's got to be what's best for the city and the people that live here. And those properties can bring in a lot of abatements. So Justin just asked if we're going to get rid of the residential, we just take a critical look at commercial and industrial, which it's been on our plate, but I acknowledge it was a good idea and we moved forward with it. So as far as residential tax abatements, which is what we're discussing, yeah, I'd like to have a discussion in April and invite public to come and make comment. And I'm of the opinion that what's best for the city 5 years, 6 years ago when they were put in place is probably a completely different setting now. And I think we're in a different spot where we could use the revenue and
If
the
they
changes
ever
in the house.
get like big again, is it something we could revisit? Like if they come in and build like a bunch of I don't know, build a bunch of townhomes or to like bring people to Elkhart. And this could be like 5-7 years when Kimberly does all this stuff over here or up by the church.
Yeah. And the next council could decide if they wanted to bring them.
I mean, I don't think we need it right now, but just easier if we could.
Yeah, it wouldn't preclude anyone from putting them back in place in the future. But
what's the forgive me if I should know this off the top of my head, what's the limit? Let's say that at the April, just hypothetically speaking, the April meeting, you guys decide to no more residential. How is there a gap before we could do something again, or could it be as soon as the May meeting?
You mean as far as ending them?
Like if you decided you wanted to put them back in place.
Oh,
Extremely hypothetical.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
you're saying in April we say we don't like them anymore, and then in
That
May
would
we're like,
be-
but really, actually.
but that would be a question for Amy Bjork, the bonding attorney, and the process.
I didn't know if
to repeal them
I was off the top of my head. I don't
because
know.
we have to repeal them through the county.
To adopt it, we had to do a public hearing. So I assume it would probably be the same way
Okay.
to react.
Readopt.
but-
A bit of an unrealistic example, but
Yes.
you
Right.
get what I'm going for.
Right.
I couldn't remember if there was a.
That was like my question too.
Because with the what I'm drawing a blank. With something we were discussing. Oh, with the potential brain fart. What did we talk about last council meeting with Mid American with the franchise fees? There's the 2 year gap that we can't make any adjustment. I wasn't sure if there was something like that in place where there's a no, we've done this and now it's turned off for 2 years. That's what I was beginning to. So.
I don't think there's any
Not that I'm aware of,
because
but
it's you guys setting those laws.
Okay.
and if we vote in April to repeal them, we can repeal them, and then we just have to file the repeals with the county. But his suggested sunset date be probably like June 1st, like all permits pulled before June 1st. And
Yeah.
I said I would let you guys know that, but we can talk about that in April more when we decide if we want to vote on it or whatever. But
And obviously, it's ultimately it's your decision, not a influence decision. But
Yeah.
things to take into consideration.
I would be in favor of having it on
In
having it on the agenda for April to have
Yeah.
a discussion.
Yeah, we've been leaning that direction. So
Mr. Forger, haven't really heard from you at all. Just want to see if you had anything else to add.
No, I mean, I agree. I was leaning towards not continuing them the last time we brought it up. But I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the June 1st date because I was even thinking July 1st, easy fiscal year end. But
Yeah, it was just something he and I talked about. I mean, in theory, we could do it as of April 20, whatever the next council meeting is. But that wouldn't be very fair to the
Yeah.
people that are looking to build. I think he said he thought there'd be 4 to 6 more permits pulled before June 1st. So was his guess.
Yeah. We're just
For what
getting
it's
into building season. So.
Correct. Now that was a suggestion. We can come up with a different.
No, I mean, I think June 1st is plenty. So.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Adams, you had a brief question, comment?
Yes, I have a question into there. For your tax abatement, is it legal for the developer or the builder to get tax abatement on the house when, even if they put somebody in it to rent, is it legal for them to do that? I know in other towns it is not.
I think that's something we'd have to. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I don't know if we'd have
Because
to.
we have people that have built houses
Mhm.
and rented them out, and then they've applied for the tax abatement.
That could be something. That's something we can look
Yeah, I
into
can
and
look into
get
that.
that answer. Double
I
check on
don't-
that.
I don't.
I thought only homeowners can get the tax
Yeah.
abatement, but I know the builder's
They're
getting the
claiming
tax
that
abatement.
they
Yes.
are the homeowner,
Yes.
but they're the developer.
And then they're
if you
transferring
look at
it
the
to
way
them,
the law reads,
and I don't think they
that's
can
a
do that.
no-no, but you've already agreed to that on some of them because you've allowed them to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. When he brought that up at one of the meetings, I thought that was a little suspicious. So.
No.
Someone might get in hot water and they're upsetting at the table when they agree to that. So I think you want to check.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think we need to look more into that. Just
I'll
to be
get
sure we
back
know
to
what.
Amy.
Yeah. See what Amy thinks. That's fine.
Sure. Council, if nothing else, I'll call the discussion closed for number 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Which takes us on to, not on the agenda, but just a quick reminder. Angie, I'm just looking at you.
April.
More than likely, I will not be here. Plan on me not being here. And if
Yes.
I am here, I will surprise all of you. So,
Love surprises.
yes,
Very nice.
We'll plan.
that's
It's gonna rain that night anyways. You'll be here.
no repeats of last year. Good God. Anyway, back on track. On to number 5. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Forker,
Aye.
Adler,
Aye.
Schaefer,
Aye.
Fortis.
Right.
We are adjourned.
Worst
Thank you,
meeting we
everybody.
ever had.